next Monday. Phones across Ireland will be hopping when the next guest takes over the Liveline hot seat, the radio show that gets the whole country talking. I'm delighted to say, though, he's here to talk to us first. The Liveline is open. It is time to talk to Kieran Cuddihy. Great to see you. Finally got to meet you. We thought you were going to be unveiled in front of the fans. You failed the medical a few weeks ago.
Yeah, last-minute hiccup.
Last-minute hiccup. What's the reaction been since you got the gig?
It's been great. It has. It's been really, really great. And, you know, when you work in this industry, I guess when you work in any industry and someone offers you a new job, wherever it is, your mind turns to practicalities to a degree. And it's only when people stop you on the street, just random people come up and stop you in the street and tell you...
No, these people, are they telling you the problems that they have in their life yet?
Well, there's a little bit of that starting to creep in already, which is probably good practice for what's coming. But, you know, they come up and it's actually been really, really nice. It's been really, really... it's almost life-affirming when people come up to you on the street and tell you how delighted they're total strangers, how delighted they are for you. It's been great.
And where were you when you found out you got the gig?
Well, I guess it was a few weeks ago. I would have had the first few conversations with, you know, people in RTÉ and then the more important conversations with my wife and my family about whether you'd actually do it. It was over the course of kind of those a few weeks ago when the official offer would have come through. And yeah, it's kind of surreal, and do you know what? One of the more surreal moments in it was what made me think of like what a big gig it was. You know, and on some level you realise it's a big gig. It's Liveline. Was that when the person offered me the job, they said, "Oh, by the way, keep this date free. You're probably going to have to go on the Late Late Show." Okay. And I'm like, wow.
Well, there you go.
That is a big deal.
That is a big deal. You're a Kilkenny man. Is there going to be a daily hurling slot? Oh, there we go.
Yes, that's that shot.
Yeah.
A couple of All-Stars picked up tonight, of course.
I saw that. Didn't manage.
We would have had more if Tip hadn't swindled the All-Ireland semi-final office.
I mean,
Fact.
John McGrath, Hurler of the Year.
Yeah. Well deserved, has to be said.
And David Clifford, of course, picking up footballer there. Big surprise.
For the third time. He's only 26. He's only 26. We're all frantically Googling him back in the room to work out what age he is. He's incredible, isn't he? He's absolutely incredible. Gravy. But yeah, listen, there's no point in having a national platform if you can't abuse it for your own ends.
Okay.
So I will be talking about Kilkenny hurling, I will be talking about club hurling, I'll be talking about coaching under-10s camogie and under-12s hurling, I'll be talking about commuting from Kilkenny and listening to hurling podcasts, all of that and more.
Okay. I didn't realise that you ended up in Canada at one point, working on building sites.
Yeah.
And having your own kind of Roy Keane World Cup trauma during that.
Oh, God, yeah. So I trained as a solicitor, and then 2009, people will remember what the country was like in 2009 when I qualified and finished my apprenticeship, and I went to Canada and I was working for a company and building these apartment blocks. It was during the World Cup, 2010 World Cup, and because of the time difference, that was the South Africa World Cup, we clocked into work one morning and we turned straight back around and we went down to an early house to watch the World Cup semi-finals.
Of course you did.
And the problem, right, our problem wasn't that. Our problem was we got greedy, right? So you know yourself, you have a few drinks, you get the confidence up, and it gets to 5 o'clock and we think, right, we should ring Enrique now and get him to clock us out of work again. And one of the lads from Bandon says, and I shouldn't, Phil McLaughlin, says, no, don't do it. Let's wait and we'll get someone to clock us out in a few hours' time and we'll get overtime. We'll get double pay. And that's all great, but as soon as you're there on overtime, there's kind of red flags beside your name. And sure enough, our boss from Colombia took a little look at these lads and followed up to find out what work had been done in the apartment we were working on. Nothing had been done and we were duly fired.
There we go.
There we are.
When you came home then, you...
Sorry, I hope not to be fired from the next job. Not quite as quickly.
I mean, it's... I very much doubt that is going to happen. When you came back, you ended up in News Talk. I believe you were on sent on an undercover assignment at an early age.
Oh, yeah, almost out here. I'd never set foot in the RTÉ campus until a couple of weeks ago. But I nearly did about, when was that, say 2011 maybe. So I was only an intern in Newstalk. That's how I started there, and kind of went in on an internship and never left. And one of my editors had a bee in his bonnet about the subsidised soup in the RTÉ canteen. It is a national scandal.
I mean, it is, to be fair.
Day one, week one of Liveline, this is what we're talking about, all right? But the subsidised soup in the RTÉ canteen, and he wanted me to go in with a hidden microphone and do a big expose about the price of soup. My attitude was very much, I'm on an internship here and there's about 3 employers in this industry in the country. If you think I'm doing an expose in RTÉ about soup, you've got another thing coming.
Have you actually found out how much the soup costs in the canteen?
How much is it?
It's $2.75.
See? Scandal. A national scandal.
See?
That's a national scandal.
That's your first call on Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. I mean, whenever you take this over, the magnitude of the stories that you have to cover, I mean, you know, Saipan was front and centre, you know, on Liveline whenever that was happening. If you had taken over a week earlier, there was another Kilkenny man who would have been, I'm sure, the main topic.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? I know you played hurling against DJ Carey.
Yeah, I marked him in a match, actually, in a club match. He would have been.
I mean, what's the feeling down in Kilkenny about that?
The feeling is, and I can only speak for myself, really, but it's just sad. The whole thing is sad. You know, it's indefensible what he did, and I think the judge described it as reprehensible, and it's hard to disagree with that. And the primary victims are all those people he swindled money out of, absolutely. But, look, not everyone will feel so. I feel sorry for DJ on some level as well. And it was really, the contrast was so stark this week, I thought, when I was listening to the radio and you know, people were recounting their own experience of how he defrauded them and the effort he put into defrauding them. And then Nudie Hughes passed away. And almost in the same episode, there's just people talking in such reverential terms about his contribution to the GAA, his contribution to his community, and all of that. And I just thought, you know, DJ's torched all of that for himself, you know? And that's sad. You know, like I say, primarily, it's awful for the victims of it. But I on some level, I feel sorry for him as well. I know not everyone will, but anyway.
Well, look, you'll be in the thick of it from next week.
Yeah.
Talking about stories like that and price of soup and all good stuff. Will it be talk to Kieran the way it was talk to Joe, do we think?
We'll let the listeners maybe decide that. See, that's the beauty of Liveline. It's the listeners decide everything. They decide what you're talking about, whether it's, you know, soup or DJ, or whether it's, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in menopause, which got such great coverage as well, or whether it's the lighter stuff, the seemingly innocuous stuff, but the stuff that stays with you. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, I driving around really slowly trying to get home, take as long as I could to get home, because a fella had phoned in and he had every edition of the RTÉ guide, the Christmas except one, and he was desperate. And the whole show was basically people rummaging in their attics looking for a magazine. You know, that's what it was. But it was just amazing, amazing radio. And that was dictated by the listeners. It was the listeners made it. And that's the beauty of it. So I'll let them come up with the tagline as well.
Okay, our office is on the same floor as the Liveline studio.
I understand you barely work.
I mean, to be fair, most people actually say I barely work while they're watching the show. So, you know, that's fine. But when I was passing the Liveline studio today, we actually saw a flashing red light on the phone. So we thought you might like a little listen to this.
Hello, good afternoon, and you're very welcome to Kieran Cuddihy. Kieran, don't talk to Joe now, just listen to Joe. Will you please just listen to Joe? Remember, the first 27 years are the hardest, and if the phone isn't ringing, you're doing something wrong, and if it is ringing, you're doing something really wrong. You're brilliant. I've heard great feedback already from my ex-colleagues in RTÉ about your enthusiasm, your ability, your intelligence, and, by the way, your good looks, and that's just from the fellas. The women think you're gorgeous as well. So best of luck, old pal. You'll be brilliant. And in the great tradition of Gayborn, Pat Kenny, Marion, the great broadcasters, break a leg, old pal. Break a leg, you'll be brilliant.
That is really nice.
What does that mean?
That is so nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. But moments like that, they're surreal, aren't they? I got a card from Joe a couple of years ago. Joe's a great man to send cards to people. You probably have cards from Joe.
I've had a few, yeah.
Sometimes, you just, his signature is on it. But he sent one, and he referenced something that had been on the show, on News Talk that I was presenting. And it stopped me in my tracks, the idea that someone of his stature had heard something I said on the radio. You know, I know it was a national radio show, but still, on some level, it's real. So that's amazing. That's lovely. That's really nice.
Look, and you're going to be in the chair, and we wish you all the best for it when you take over on Monday. Thank you so much, Kieran Cuddihy.
Thanks, Patrick.
Well done. Good to see you. You can talk to Kieran on RTÉ Radio 1 from Monday, the usual Liveline time of 1:45. Okay.